Hey Ryan, it's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
Good morning, Elijah. How's it going? I'm doing fantastic.
It's going fine, it's going quite well. And thank you so very much for being here, you see. And just like I mentioned earlier, you see, I truly appreciate it. And you see, Ryan, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two things, okay? And I do this so often to the point where it has become an anthem for me. So firstly, Ryan, my man, I want to say thank you so very much for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you invested in yourself. And oftentimes, around, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, some months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, there was this tall, unattractive mango tree. And I use the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, Ryan, just recently, I was on that same road. And this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree, you see. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance, and immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me. Because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches. Oh boy, it was a beautiful moment that day, I tell you. I was so excited. A special moment at that. There is my the fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Ryan that you are today, that alone has made it really impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you see you got the request for me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing, your impact, your work, your philosophies, your insight. It is amazing. And just before you got the request for me, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things Ryan is doing, not only me now, but even the audience. And here we are today with the amazing Ryan. So thank you so very much for investing in yourself, and thank you so very much for being here. Truly appreciate it, my man. Thank
Much love and gratitude, Elijah. I mean, that's it's just such a beautiful intro. I have a lot of friends I always ask, you know, how come you always take the hard road? And I say I never see two roads. It's one of those aspects where it's the shortcut is the long way. And, like you said earlier, like all we can do is invest in ourselves, believe in ourselves, trust our higher power. For me, that's God, that, like we'll get through these trials and we'll see that mango tree just blossom, bloom, and grow. And, in such a short amount of time, about the last
you.
90 plus
Exactly.
days, it's
Mm,
literally just everything's come into, just blossom. It's amazing. And, here's like the start to that, this morning, being here with you. And yeah, I'm just blessed. So thank you
beautiful.
so much.
Beautiful. I love that. That's a great one. So I'm quite excited to have you on the show today, Ryan, for two reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, Ryan, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information, and not just knowledge now, but the application of it. And you see, Ryan, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge, and darkness means ignorance. I've been so keen to knowledge seeking because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the audience. And the second reason why I'm excited to have the amazing Ryan on the show is for the sake of the listeners. You see, Ryan, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got lots of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So for that reason, right, my man, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or professional journey, because
Yeah,
right now we're just so
absolutely.
curious, yeah, and we want to know how you, Ryan, got here. And afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Ryan,
Well,
over to you.
thank you, Elijah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just a small town boy from Hoople, North Dakota, Tatertown, USA. It's a village of about 300, maybe 350 people. I graduated with 11 kids in my class. So, for those that know Laura Ingalls and Little House on the Prairie, yeah, kind of like that. And very small school, about 7 miles away from where I grew up. And, through times, I decided to join the Army when I was in college. And I served the U.S. Army for 23 years. And I retired a few years back as a lieutenant colonel in the infantry. So I was airborne and Ranger qualified. I served 4 tours total, Afghanistan, Iraq, and 2 tours in Saudi Arabia. And I left the military in 2022, and I joined the ranks of Fortune 500 America. And, I thought, hey, I got about 15 years until, retirement. And, I'll just enjoy this cubicle life, working risk management and focusing on, continuing the American dream, having the white picket fence, the house, a couple of cars, the kids, and all the different extracurricular activities and, family trips here and there. My transition didn't work out the way I had planned it, I guess. I thought it'd be easier. I could go it alone, and that didn't work out. All the ailments I had from my military times, a lot of injuries, my prescription drug addiction took hold, and also my alcoholism. And as that started to erode myself and, my family over time and space, it was 27 November 2023. I sobered up and started this journey of amazing sobriety and serenity. And I've been blessed every day. Of late, December 2024, the Lord, so graciously blessed me with Our Protector LLC, and I started my own business. And then in January here, just a few months ago, we started Our Protector Development, and we're releasing the first book, God Only Knows When the Devil Comes for You, A Second Chance at Life. Amazon just said 3 June 2025, it'll be the release date. So we can certainly pre-order that, so everything's ready to go in the queue, knowing that Amazon is the largest book sales platform in the world. And, it's just such a blessing moving forward. So many doors have opened. This morning I'm here, with you, and, we're just a couple of brothers from other mothers. And it's just one of those aspects where we can grow and learn together, because I do believe that knowledge is power, and that ability to take in that information, create it into knowledge, and then from there project it across the world, just like you're doing on your platform here, allows us to come together and be more connected, as human beings rather than humans doing, and just out there over consuming and challenging the aspects of, not really taking on, our God-given purpose. I call it the war of purpose, where we truly have this purpose inside of us, but like our fears, that darkness you spoke of earlier, like can kind of control and keep us small. And if we get enough light in there, we get enough connections, enough positive reinforcement that allows us to like fill ourselves with light so much that there's no way darkness can ever come in there. And when that happens, you basically, walk on water. It's one of those aspects of, feeding the poor, healing the sick, and protecting the weak. We can do more because we have this purpose inside of us. And it's just our fear that keeps us small. So don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. Amazing. Now I see why you're just so good at what you do. Oh man, that's a profound one. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. It's a beautiful journey and I love it. So I'm a bit curious. Can you tell us more about the what's the word? The protector development. What is it about?
Yeah. So, I look at all my time, even growing up in, small rural North Dakota town, that, you're put in leadership positions, be it in the church. I was altar boy, I read scripture, and it puts you in front of everybody to like show that you're strong enough to do something when maybe people just want to sit in the back and, watch the show. And as I moved through high school, I was the captain of, the football team, and I kind of had that natural leadership, just whatever it may be inside of me that, I just never quit. I had the intestinal fortitude to always overcome. I had knee reconstruction surgery 3 times in high school from playing football. And, it was one of those where you get back up one more time, right? You think of like Rocky, the Rocky movies, and you got Mickey sitting in his corner and he's like, you get up, you SOB, like you don't, like you can get up, you can do it again. And so that transitioned into the military. And so our protector development, there's two sides to look at it. There's our protector. For me, my higher power is God. And, he protects us in everything we do. And then the way I look at it, the science side of it would be our protector is me. I served our country for 23 years and faced evil, on other playing fields in the Middle East, unfortunately. To me, I take that as a very biblical aspect. There was multiple trials and tribulations over the last, call it 4,000 years. And in all that, utilizing, other platforms, expertise, and everything else that we have out there from other great leaders, developing people to really draw out that true leadership potential that we all have inside of us, to break down those fears, to invoke that confidence so you can actually have, that God-given purpose come out. And, I believe like we all have a story inside of us that creates, if it's, a nonprofit or it's, developing some type of business that allows you to share your story with multiple people and grow, those connections, that network that brings the most good out of every situation. And, that's kind of the way our consulting firm, looks at it from that perspective. And, it's just a holistic connection where, we communicate, we build trust, and then we develop that legacy that's inside of you.
That's inside of you. Got that. So let's think about patience. All right. Why is patience so important in personal growth?
Yeah, that's a powerful question right there, Elijah. I mean, that aspect right there, that ability to pause when things happen to you, when like, let's just look at emotions and, how our feelings can turn into the lack of patience. For me, like when I think back before I sobered up, like anger was one of those things where I would just like, I would feed off of it. It would be this aspect of like, sweet, someone wants confrontation, so I can just jump out of it like, a tiger, leaping through the jungle at some type of prey, and that feeling of anger would create sweat and, tenseness, and just, I would be just so balled up. And the ability to have patience and pause, we say in the program, we're not responsible for our first thought, but we are responsible for our second thought and our first action. So if we have the ability to really harness that patience and, be blessed by having the ability to, just pause and really be present when we're with someone, we're communicating, we're here to listen. I was always somebody who was like so eager to speak, I was like, I have all these points to get across, but the good Lord gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. So I would say 2 outnumbers 1. So that aspect is you should listen first and speak later. So that patience is just a huge contextual aspect of having the ability to pause, be grateful for what you currently have because someone out there has less. And then from there, project in your patience, doing the next right best thing, whatever that may be.
Beautiful. I got that. And thank you for explaining it in such a way that it's quite easy to understand. So still on emotions, all right? How do emotions affect our highs and lows in life, Mr. Buttress?
Yeah, I mean, that's actually perfect. As I think about the second book that'll be coming out, The Icarus Effect, and we all have feelings, and I think as men we have feelings too, and that gets lost sometimes when we don't allow those patience through our feelings to actually allow us to move through our emotions and the different emotions you can have as you maybe aren't listening, and that ability to take on whatever we are feeling at that time. And, if we're always running, we never have the patience to pause, to take everything in, to allow it to have us actually grow. And then, a lot of us have amazing talents, but we get so wrapped up in our day-to-day life. I like the term human doing versus human being. And, being is being present, being constantly focused on others rather than yourself. Now, there is self-care. I mean, we all need to take time for ourselves, and so we don't burn out and we don't, keep charging into every wall or hill or whatever it may be. But in that, like, if we have the ability to really take back into patience, like you brought up in the previous question, that allows our emotions never to, kind of fly so high or so low. The story of Icarus was where you get that Icarus effect. In Greek mythology, Icarus was just a boy, and he didn't listen to his father when he ended up telling him that he made these wings out of wax and feathers. So if you fly too high to the sun, it'll melt the wax, and the feathers will fall. Or if you fly too close to the sea, the feathers will get wet, and they'll obviously not be able to fly either. So you have to really allow your emotions to kind of just be that constant, even playing field that gives us, those chances to, really, I think I describe it as be like San Diego, be 7-2 and sunny. And like Ron Burgundy used to say, you stay classy now. And that really creates that peace, I think, that we all look for.
I got that. I got that. Okay, let us talk about your book. The title alone seems very, very powerful and catchy. How did you come about the title, the inspiration? Where did it all come?
Yeah, that's I've gotten that a lot lately. I was actually with Jack Canfield, the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, last week, and we had the same conversation. And it's one of those. I think I was, in my Bible quite a bit. I'm a small group leader at Eagle Brook Church here in Wayzata, Minnesota. And I think I was driving back from a small group ministry Wednesday night, and the God Only Knows song comes on, and, it just hit me just right to the core of my soul. How it goes, God only knows, what they say about you, and so on and so forth. And like, I was going through some really tough times at that moment. I was unfortunately going through a divorce. My kids were estranged to me at the time. And I believe I'd just been laid off from my Fortune 500 company. And this is all while I was sober. So it's one of those aspects that, just because we sober up and try to find that serenity doesn't mean that, trials and tribulations won't come your way. And, I was like, God only knows. God only knows. God only knows when the devil comes for you, a second chance at life. And he gave me the second chance of like, how will I do better? Like, what is my true purpose? What will I fight for? For almost a quarter of a century, I fought for our freedom. I fought for my brothers and sisters to my left and right. I fought for anything and everything possible. And today, now I understand that my purpose is to help others. And in that, I want to build myself to break. So where mentally, from that perspective, when the devil comes, because God knows I don't, that I'm ready for whatever he might put in front of me, knowing that like we're on this platform here today, and some people might not believe in a higher power, which is totally fine. They could believe in any type of thing. They could believe in a doorknob, and if that allows them to create peace in their life, fantastic. For me, my higher power is God, and that's where you could change the title if you don't like God only knows, like change it to the doorknob only knows. But it's one of those things that we have to prepare ourselves for whatever comes next. And, kind of like we talked about fear earlier, when I was a little boy, unfortunately, I watched Nightmare on Elm Street. My babysitter, when I was about 5 years old, allowed me to watch a really scary movie. And I allowed the fear of these imaginary, people, guys, i.e. Freddy Krueger, to control everything I did whenever the lights went out. So, I slept on my parents' floor in their bedroom for years. And, it's one of those things that we need to protect ourselves. We need to protect our children, and we need to protect others from all of those things that we can be afraid of. Sometimes on the news, there's a lot of things that cause, fear that are outside of our control. You can't do anything about it. And it ruins our day. And, I kind of look at it from a perspective of being warm, dry, and safe. So if you have shelter, you're probably dry. You might not be warm and safe because I know right now we just got a snowstorm last night in Minnesota as I look out the window here. But hopefully somebody can allow you to be warm and safe, bring you a blanket, protect you like he protects all of us. It's just having the ability to truly see that.
Profound, profound. I got that. What a strong man you are. That's a beautiful one. So to bring this to an end, Ryan, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those folks who would like to reach out to you, learn more about everything we've discussed so far, or make a purchase of your book, how can that be?
Yeah, there's a number of different ways you can help. One is Bravo Zulu. That's a nonprofit establishment here in Minnesota, the first all veteran sober house. It's in Winnebago, Minnesota, and they'll have 13 beds to house those men who suffer from PTSD addiction and are trying to come back. That second chance at life that I talk about. And we're looking at establishing a woman's Bravo Zulu here in Minnesota, and then the goal will be to bring it to every state in the nation. And we greatly appreciate the Mayo Clinic being a part of this out of Rochester initially, but also just that aspect of continuing to help support our great military. Yeah, sure. From a personal aspect, God only knows when the devil comes for you, a second chance at life. Under the umbrella of Our Protector Development, will be coming out 3 June. You can go to Amazon and pre-order that now. And, stop by www.ourprotectordevelopment.com and, reach out on the contact us so we can continue to stay connected. We can build that bridge over the valley so not all of us have to go through the valley in our suffering. We can get on the bridge on right before we're ready to dip and head on over to the side of gratitude, blessings, and the promised land that we can all have if we do it together. But if we do it alone, it's impossible because it's one of those aspects. It's all about we. It's all about us. And for me, it's all about him. And all glory to God. Wouldn't be here without him and his protection. And Elijah, I just greatly appreciate the time that we've been able to spend this morning. And I hope you have a blessed day and many blessings ahead.
Beautiful. Love that. So that's going to be the end of the show, Ryan. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing this beautiful stuff with us. It means a whole lot, my man.